information. Oh yeah, thank you for the recording. So once again, welcome to the call again. I want to thank everyone for joining us. We have David as my co-host with Doris, Renee. We also have AJ on the call, DeFi Max on the call. Welcome. We have Jonathan on the call, Carlos, Paulette, Cynthia, David Jr. We have Gino, Mariana, Marlene, Maxine, Sanji, and Juma. Welcome, Juma. Thank you for joining us tonight. Just not too many updates this week, but we're still going to go through the program that we have. And we always want to give the most updated information that we have available to us from the devs. And we will go into that a little later on. First of all, let's, for those that are new on the call, let's see if there's anybody new on the call. I see most people on the call that we recognize. We will still do the project overview for everyone to see. So let's go right into that. I'm going to share my screen. Hang on one second here. David, can you make me co-host so I can share my screen? Thank you. All right. Share my screen, continue. Okay, let's go right into the PowerPoint. Okay, so welcome to FSTSwap. This is our program that we've been a part of for over a year now. And it began in the middle of end of June, actually, when we first started mining with OSK, and we started mining the PGNLZ coins. So we'll go right into that as we go through the slides. So FSTSwap, it's an automated market maker that allows the exchange of two tokens to be traded on the Binance Smart Chain. It's fast, affordable, and allows anyone to participate. FSTSwap was created on December 22nd, 2021 of last year. We were mining the PGNLZ coins last year. And during that time, FST was also a coin that we were able to purchase. And what we saw was that FST rose from $4,000 to over $80,000 by the end of December. And then FST was forward split 20,000 times. And on December 22nd of last year, FSTSwap was created and migrated over to the Binance Smart Chain. So FST was migrated, and it started off at a price of $2.90. Even after the big rise of FST from 4,000 to 80,000, we surpassed Bitcoin. And that was the aim of the community, to get the price above Bitcoin, and it did that. And then we forward split it, and then it was moved over to the Binance Smart Chain, which is where we sit right now with FSTSwap. Okay, and it started at $2.90, which allowed a lot more people to come into the platform. It's Binance Smart Chain was used because it's fast, affordable, and allows anyone to participate. It is the best blockchain right now, with the most star projects, the most DeFi tokens and users, and the cheapest for gas fees, and the fastest in transaction speeds. The future plans are, we are going to have our own blockchain in the near future, and it is currently under development and is ready to go. Just waiting for a few more go-aheads from the development team. We do expect it by this year that it's going to be launched. And we are attracting a lot of interest from other crypto communities around the world. So there's going to be a lot of interest and a lot of projects that are going to be deployed on our blockchain. We are a community. We have a strong community that supports almost everything we do here. We just continue to have the consensus of the members of the community. And with that, most people are involved with the investment in FST and OSK tokens, which are the main tokens of our community. And other projects are coming on board, and we are allowing other communities to join us in the FSTSwap in order to mine what we are currently mining, which is the FON token. So as of May 1st, 2022, we have officially deployed our mining contract to mine our future mainnet token, which is FON. With the FSTSwap, which we are in right now, we are in the Binance Smart Chain, and the mainnet token for the Binance Smart Chain is BNB. Once we have our blockchain by the end of this year sometime, we will have FON as our main token that's going to be used for all the transaction fees. So when we do any transactions right now, we have to have BNB in our account, in our wallet, in order to transact anything that we do on that platform. And similarly, Fawn is going to be used in the near future for our blockchain as the coin, as a token for all the transaction fees. So right now we're able to mine the Fawn tokens for free by providing liquidity with the USDT FIST pairing or the OSK FIST pairing, the Fawn FIST pairing, Fawn OSK, and the NFT. And these are the main core tokens that we're dealing with our community. There are other tokens that are also part of the mining of Fawn. And these other communities have been invited to pair up their Ethereum with FIST or their BNB with FIST and BNB with USDT. So there are other pairings as well that are used in order to mine Fawn. The best part of Fawn is that you can mine it daily and you can harvest it daily. And with harvesting, you're able to cash out and use it for whatever you need. When we were in that project last year, we were mining for 6 months. We were mining PGNLZs. And for the 6 months, it was locked up and we didn't know what the price of PGNLZ was going to be. By January, we realized the price and we were surprised, and it was a good surprise at the time. And a lot of people were able to, make some good money at that time. With the PGNLZs, we're able to synthesize the NFT that is part of the platform that we're on right now. With the NFT from last year that we mined, when we synthesized, we can actually mine the Fawn token using that as well. The FSTSwap, here is a summary of it. Fawn will be the governance token for the new blockchain, which will be deployed this year. There are a total of 370 million Fawn tokens. And the plan is to burn 24% of that. And there are different ways that we're going to be using the burning of the Fawn. We'll be talking about that later in the call today. Currently, there are around $1 billion deployed in the various liquidity pools in the FSTSwap Dex. Fawn will be mined for 7 years, with 30% being mined in the first year. And this started May 1st, 2022. The second year will mine 20% of the total Fawn, and the rest of the Fawn will be mined at 10% per year. So 7 years in total, and this is the biggest year of the mining, which is 30%. Each year, 15% of the Fawn will go to the dev wallet, and 18% of the remaining 85% will go towards the nodes, and the rest will go to the investors. The nodes. The USDT FIST pool is the only liquidity pool that allows members to participate in the nodes voting. So once you invest in the USDT FIST liquidity pool, you are automatically given FRT tokens into your wallet. And this is based on the amount of investment you put into this pool. And with the FRT tokens, each member can now use their FRT tokens and place it to the node of their choice. The top 37 nodes with the highest FRT tokens or votes will earn from the 18% of the 85% of the funds that are paid out daily. So the English International Community Node is formed to educate, inform, and provide guidance with the most updated information on the project. So each node has a specified percentage allocated to pay the voters. Some pay 90%, some pay 80%, some even as low as 20%. We've seen that. If you were to look into the back office of the nodes, you can see all the payouts. With the FRT tokens and the voting for the nodes in the top 37, if you're able to place your FRTs with a node that's in the top 37 right now, you'll also receive another form of income because the nodes pay out to the voters of the node. Okay, so like I said, 90%, 80%, some are 20%. And those are the payouts that are paid to the voters of the node. The EIC, which is the English International Community, will be working hard to attract enough votes to be in the top 37. We are an enthusiastic community committed to helping empower those who want to learn and earn in DeFi. Okay, so FSTSwap, we see a bright future in this. We are excited about coming on the calls and educating people on the platform, and whatever updates we get from the developers and from the people that are close to us like Paul and DeFi Max, we will try to get the most updated information for everyone on the calls. Let's go right into the actual platform itself and take a look at the trading and the farming. So I'm going to go into my BitKeep. So this is the wallet that we're all using. You can use BitKeep, you can use Token Pocket. BitKeep seems to be the one that most people are using. So all you have to do is set up a BitKeep wallet, and then you have to have BNB in this wallet. And then from there, you can purchase the FIST token, or you can purchase the USD token, or even the Fawn token, whatever you want to pair up with in order to provide liquidity. So what we do is we provide liquidity into a pool, and the pool that we're using right now is a FSTUSDT pool for those that want to participate in the voting of the nodes. So with the FSTUSDT pool, all you have to do is go to the browser and then go to FSTSwap. FSTSwap is where everything takes place, and make sure you have the right URL for FSTSwap. And then within FSTSwap, you're able to swap BNB for any token you like. If you want to swap it for FIST, or if you want to swap USDT for FIST or FON, or whatever you want to swap it for. So once you swap an equal amount of USDT for FIST, you can pair it up and put it into the pool. And then once you put it into the pool, all you do is create a pair, and you can put FIST, and then you can put USDT, and then you would put whatever amount you want to put into this pool. Once you are in the liquidity pool, the next step is to go to the farm. So you go to the earn at the bottom pools there. You click on earn, and you click on farm, and then this is where you're going to see all of the liquidity pools that are available in order to mine FON. Okay, so you're just going to scroll down. You can see all of the different pools. You can see the FIST USDT pool and BNB FIST, BNB USDT. Here are the Ethereum pools with File and SHIB. There's all kinds of pools that are participating in the mining of FON here. And the way these pools are created are that the communities that bring these projects on board, they have to have 200,000 FIST as the minimum in order to participate in the FON mining. So once you are put into the pool, once you are in the liquidity pool, all you have to do is go to the farming, and then you click on details on whichever farm that you're going to be participating in, and then you can enable the liquidity pool, and then you will provide the staking of your two tokens in order to earn FON. Okay, so we can harvest daily. As you can see, if I click on the one I'm in, I can harvest this amount of FON that's earned so far. And then I can also, once I harvest it, it will go into my assets on the front page. And then with that, I can switch the FON over to USDT. And if I want to cash it out, I can do that. Okay, so that's how the earnings on the farm pools are done. You can also go into, let's go back and go to the nodes. Let's go back. And then on the bottom right, you can click on node. And here you can see all of the nodes that are available. There's 69 nodes that have been created so far. The top 37 are shown as the official nodes, and they're shown on the front page here. And as you scroll down, you can see the number of votes that are for each node and the payouts to all the people that vote for that particular node. You can see on this, number 10 pays out 80%, number 11 pays out 100%, and so forth. Okay, our node is in the candidate section, and currently we are 39th, and we strive to be in the top 37 and eventually in the top 10 as we continue to build our community and educate them as best and as informatively as we can as the information comes across. So coming on these calls, we get all the information as the most updated information as we have. And then we have DeFi Max and different people that are closer to the devs that will help us get more information as time goes on. Let's start with a little giveaway. If we are all set for that, Renee, are you set? We can do the giveaway for the people that are on this call. We like to give away FON on every one of our calls. So if we're ready to go, okay, Renee's ready to go. We can have Carlos come on in to coordinate this. Carlos, come on in, buddy.
Yes, Peter.
All right, buddy, there you are.
So here we go, party people. We're spinning, and we got, looks like it's Cynthia. She's a winner, Cynthia. Cynthia, don't forget to send us your address, send us your digital address so we can get that FON to you. Congratulations to Cynthia. Let's take another spin here. And away we go. Big bucks, no whammies, big bucks, no whammies, big bucks, big bucks. We got Debbie. Debbie's a winner. Congratulations. We're going to leave the last one for the end of the call, but congratulations to our winners. Please send your address right away.
All right, Carlos, thank you so much. We're going to get back to Carlos in just a bit as we get to the second part of our presentation, which we're going to be comparing our FSTSwap with one of the major DEXs that are out there. Let's go right into the announcements section where we have some new announcements where we can burn some fun. And Sanjeev, if you're able to unmute yourself, can you give us some insight on how we can burn some fun and earn more fun with that?
Hey, Peter, can you hear me okay?
Yep, all good.
All right. Hello, everyone. We do have a smaller update on the C pools, which is the burn pools, where you can burn fawn to earn fawn. Definitely, there is a daily limit. It opens up at a certain time in the day, and then each user has a limit of 50, the max. A minimum, there is no limit. You can start with anything. You burn the fawn, and then there's an APR. This week, there is an additional pool that has been added to a list of 2 pools. So now it's 2 different pools. One has a 90-day clock. The other one has a 180 days clock. So it's really interesting. So there's another way of making or earning fawn through our FSTSwap. So I think it's really interesting to see how the whole ecosystem is developing into multiple ways of earning fawn. And please try to participate. I'm hearing that, there's a couple of questions that are on that topic. I would like to touch on that. Is I haven't seen anyone from our community yet or seen any input that they have been able to successfully join that pool because of the time factor. Looks like it's just gone in the first minute or even less than a minute of it starting. Now there's a clock to because there was a confusion in the past as to when does it actually start? When does that day start? Now they've added a clock, which is really cool. Yeah, let us know if you're able to get into those pools and share some of your results, because that's very interesting. Only few people are able to get in just because of the timeliness of it. So that's all I wanted to add.
Sold out in like the first few minutes, right?
First minute and first few seconds is what I'm hearing. It doesn't even last a whole minute.
Oh, wow. Okay, awesome. All right, so let's get into the next section of the call today. And Carlos, you want to come on in? We're going to be talking a little bit about comparing our FSTSwap with other DEXs. Carlos, Carlos, you're up.
Hey guys, how you doing? So can you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, all good.
So I just wanted to, reiterate the fact that all our calls are not always going to have updates every day. Every call is not going to have, exciting news, especially in a bear market, right? But what we do have is constant learning, constant education. So I wanted to remind you guys that when you come on these calls, you can count on us teaching you something new or reinforcing something that we need to learn, either for ourselves or for the people that we bring onto this platform. I feel confident when I know we're going to have a all-star lineup like Peter and Breezy and Doris and Sanjeev, David talking about topics. I know that I can, even if I can't make the call, I can send someone to this call and know that they're going to get some form of education. And that's ongoing. That's the consistency that this community has. So I wanted to remind you guys that we're all following Twitter, right? We're all following the Bluebird. And I wanted to hand this off to David so he can show us what the sentiment of the market shows us, right? So we're in a bear market, and just because our price action is down here doesn't mean that it's not happening in other places. You know, this is an industry-wide thing that's happening, right? We talked about 6 different indicators that are bringing the markets down. We talked about inflation. We talked about the war in Ukraine. We talked about gas prices going up. We talked about shortages, food shortages that are happening. I was talking to a couple of my friends. They're truck drivers. They're telling me that in the past, Fridays would be a day that get vegetables and they get a bunch of fruit, and it'd be a good day for them to, they get paid per delivery, and it was a good day for them to pick up fruit and vegetable with a full load, a big full truck. And they said these days they're going to these places to pick stuff up from these farms, and they're getting a quarter of a truck filled up. So to them, they're like, we haven't seen stuff like that since before, right when COVID started, right, where we had a shortage on supplies. So they said it seems that farmers now are making sure that they feed their cattle and they feed whatever farm animals are there before they actually start giving the truckers fruit to sell, to drop off for profit. They're more concerned with sustaining their farm than actually making profit with fruits or vegetables that they have extra from after feeding the farm animals, which is like alarming to hear that. So things are not really good on a macro level, right? So on a macro level, there's so many things happening. Celsius, there was an attack on Celsius. They lost millions of dollars. There was an attack on Terra Luna. They lost billions of dollars. So all those indicators aren't good for the crypto space itself. And I'm not sure if you guys heard, but I'm sure you guys are all familiar with Anonymous. The guy that comes on with the mask. He recently made a statement, and he said that businesses in crypto, they go down. Sometimes it doesn't work out the way they planned for it to work out, but it was all done with good intention. They're saying now that they're finding out that Do Kwon, the CEO of Terra Luna, was withdrawing money before Terra Luna went down. So when Anonymous comes on, he or the group of people make a threat to get vengeance on anybody that's handing out injustice, right? So that just happened like 2 days ago. They just talked about that. Anonymous came on to the internet and said Do Kwon, the CEO of Terra Luna, will pay for what he did to all these people. So it's kind of crazy right now. Just the fact that people are not feeling like they have extra money to put in crypto or in stocks. So it's the same thing happening with the stock market. The stock market's down too. But anyway, if we can go to David, we want to talk about the pancake swap and fish swap.
Good evening. Thank you, Carlos. Good evening, everybody. So happy Monday. Good to be with you guys. What we're going to do in the next couple of weeks is we want to do something interesting, a little bit different. We're going to take a look at FSTSwap, and we're going to look at FSTSwap in the bigger context of how and where does FSTSwap fall in to the broader industry? How does it compare? Who are our competitors? How does it compare to our competitors? There's lots of questions, and it's normal in a market like what we have right now, where the market is volatile. We look at the Bitcoin chart. I think we're probably all aware of what's been happening with Bitcoin and how the rest of the markets followed it. And just overall, as Carlos has just said, the macroeconomics of what's happening in our world around us, it means that we're watching portfolios in all kinds of markets go through really, really volatile experiences. And so let's talk about, part of the benefit of getting together as a group and going through this project together is that we have the benefit of, there's our investment that's in this project. And then there's all of the reality that's happening in the marketplace. There's all of the learning that happens for each of us as we're getting more and more familiar with the project. And so we get together and we have the benefit of that shared learned experience. And so part of what we want to do in the next couple of meetings is a series where we start taking a look at some of the other exchanges, some of the other DeFi protocols. And I'm going to share my screen a little bit tonight. Sanjeev's going to jump in and Peter, and we're going to just kind of talk through this. Our series here, as we start this exploration, is going to start with PancakeSwap. And let me find where I want to take you guys. All right, so we brought up a platform called Dex Screener. If you were on one of our more recent calls, we talked about Dex Screener. I'm going to share that screen with you here. And one of the reasons we talked about it is because it is, why don't I ask Sanjeev, Sanjeev, do you mind jumping in and talking about what Dex Screener, what you use it for, what some of the things that you can find here, and then we'll walk through it together.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dex Screener is very similar to our CoinMarketCap in terms of its data. We would like to, this looks at all decentralized exchanges across the globe, right? Between all various networks. Everything that you see on the left is, each one of them is a network. Ethereum network, BSC network, Polygon, Avalanche, Phantom, right? So on and so forth. Now, this view that you're seeing here, really good because it has a lot of key indicators. When we talk about a FSTSwap or a PancakeSwap, the elements, right, the key drivers, the KPIs, I call it, the key performance indicators, are some of these key items here, which is liquidity, right? What is your volume? What is the ratio of the volume versus your liquidity? And where do we stand? Price is the last one that truly actually matters in a swap environment, because once the price is up, everything is up. Once the price is down, of course, everything is down, right? Everything reduces. So that's a shift in thinking. It is not your regular token. It is a swap environment where it's a DeFi environment. It's a DEX. So that's the reason why I like this. CoinMarketCap is good for tokens in general under the CEX, which is your centralized exchange environment. But this is more of a DeFi platform under a DEX environment. And there's a lot of things that you can do with it, but at a very high level, it compares all the various pools that are out there, which network are they on, and which swap environment are they on, and it gives a little bit of exposure to what are the networks that are out there, who are our competitors, right? Because that's the basic, that's one of the key elements to look at, and how are they doing? Yes, we are maybe not in the best place today, but how are our competitors doing? Are they struggling as well? How much are they struggling? Things of that nature. So that way we don't feel like we're alone. So back to you, David.
Thank you for that, Sanjeev. So there's a couple of things we want to look at while we're here on Dex Screener. So the first thing is we've got the entire conglomeration of the universe of DeFi projects. So as Sanjeev mentioned, we've got all the different platforms: Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, Avalanche. So the screen that we're looking at when we're on the homepage of Dex Screener takes all of those into consideration. And what we see on the very left is the platform that it's on, the blockchain that it's running on. And in this case, we would be looking at the Binance Smart Chain. Phantom is the one that comes up next. You can see the legend here. All right, so, and then the icon to the right of that is the coin, or the DEX that it's being traded on. So let's do one of the things that we like to do is we sort this by liquidity. For some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason, I think maybe it's sometimes intentional. I don't know why, but on this main screen, every now and again, OSK doesn't show up. And it's interesting because if it did, and we sort this by liquidity, and this is looking at every single one of the liquidity pools on all of these different platforms, we take this and sort it by liquidity, OSK FIST becomes the #1 liquidity pool. Take a note here, the top liquidity pool, when we sort it by liquidity, 267 million is the USDT BUSD liquidity pool. That's 2 stable coins on Binance Smart Chain in PancakeSwap. All right, 267 million. If we go to Binance Smart Chain and we do the same thing and we sort by liquidity, our OSK FIST coin shows up. So sometimes it disappears as I check Dex Screener. Sometimes OSK tends to fall off that list for some reason. And if it didn't today, obviously it would be at the very top of that list. It's $288 million. Something incredibly important and very, very proud that we get to talk about in terms of what we bring to somebody that's looking to invest in a project or that's looking to build a project of their own. Where do you want to be? Do you want to be in a project where there's a healthy, vibrant community, there's a healthy, vibrant liquidity pool? Obviously, being the #1 liquidity pool is a bragging right that we get to talk about. Let's take it a step further. Let's zoom out just a little bit. Let's go back to the entire list, looking at all of the different exchanges. When we look at that, based on today's liquidity, let's go back and sort it by liquidity. So what we see is OSK is not there, but let's put OSK in position #1, which pushes everybody else down. That makes this #2, this #3. That would make FIST USDT #4, and the Cake WBNB would be #5. So we would have in the top 5 of the top 5 liquidity pools in the entire DEX universe, 2 of the largest liquidity pools belong to FSTSwap. Every other liquidity pool belongs to PancakeSwap. So that's part of the reason we're going to start with PancakeSwap. We're going to zoom in here on the Binance Smart Chain because that's where PancakeSwap lives and it's where FSTSwap lives, obviously. All right, so if we just laser focus into just the Binance Smart Chain, you can tell that the top 10 positions are dominated by FSTSwap and PancakeSwap. So let's talk a little bit about PancakeSwap. We're going to do, over the next couple of calls, we'll do a little bit of a deep dive into PancakeSwap. But PancakeSwap's a great place to start because let's just jump into PancakeSwap for a second. For some reason, I don't know if it's on my side, but their site has just not been loading really well today. All right, so they have, what you'll notice when you get to PancakeSwap, for those who might not be familiar, if you're a guest or you're watching this for the first time, let me just pop you into FSTSwap. So we're in the farm pools on FSTSwap. What you'll notice right away is that the user interface is very, very familiar. And that's not uncommon. You'll see that software tends to repeat itself. And so FSTSwap borrows some elements from its design, its user interface from the PancakeSwap protocol. So you can see that we've got farms and the way that they're laid out looks very, very similar to what you're going to see over here on PancakeSwap. So it makes it a really nice place where we can do kind of a head-to-head comparison. Very, very similar approach in terms of what they're doing on the DEX. So let's just start here, for example. So we've got farms. If you look at what's on the FSTSwap, we've got a couple farms and we've got APRs ranging. Our primary farm that we focus on is FIST USDT. It is the second largest liquidity pool. If we sort it, let's do a quick sort by liquidity. So our largest liquidity pool, 284,000. Second largest, 166,000. Let's look at FSTSwap, at PancakeSwap. Let's sort that by liquidity. So their largest liquidity pool is 2 stable coins, USDT, BUSD. It's $243 million versus BUSD and BNB coin, 179 million. And the liquidity pool on the largest pool that they have, the largest liquidity pool with their own token, Cake, $122 million. Then let's look at APRs. Why don't we sort this by APR? So we're going to discard anything that's not a core project. And let's just start at what the highest APRs. They've got some pretty high APRs, but look at the liquidity pool. So one of the things that we know that we've learned along this journey, and if this is new to you, then one of the things that we understand that's important in the DeFi space is the larger the liquidity, the larger the liquidity pool, the more stable the project is. So when you have a small liquidity pool, the price movement can be really volatile, can move quite a bit. So we've got some large APRs against some small pools. Let's look at what we've got in FSTSwap if we sort by APR. So right now we've got the largest APR, the highest APR pays right above 61%. And these numbers are changing every day as the market is changing and different elements are changing. So we've got FON USDT. One thing that's important about that is that FON is one of our core tokens. So FON against USDT pays the highest APR with a nice healthy liquidity pool at $4.3 million. Second highest farm that we've got is FON OSK, two of our core tokens. Two tokens that are core to the project pay an APR at 60.53%. Again, with a very, very, very healthy liquidity pool. I just compare that again to what we've got in PancakeSwap. Again, not necessarily looking to say one's better than the other, but just to kind of give you an idea of when we're talking to people, we're talking to our friends about projects, and they're trying to get their head wrapped around what makes FSTSwap unique. We're just going to point out a couple of things that make us stand apart. You go down this line here, we've sorted this by the highest APR. Just notice how small these liquidity pools are in comparison to the liquidity pools that we're talking to. So that we're talking about on FSTSwap. We've got the largest liquidity pool. It is a core farm to them, 39.1% with a $1.4 million liquidity pool. You just compare that to what we've got here. So we start going down the list. We've got APRs at 60, 54, 52, all with really healthy liquidity pools. Maybe this is an exception here. It's not one of our core projects. Another core product pair at 52% with a $25 million liquidity pool. So the takeaway here is when you look at FSTSwap, and you look at the projects on FSTSwap from the standpoint of liquidity pools, and you just compare that. And again, this is non-scientific at this point. We're just looking, here's a environment that's very similar to the environment that we're in. They offer similar products in terms of the yield farming, the ability to earn by staking and providing liquidity. And so is that, if I were looking as a total novice and all I knew was I wanted to get involved in DeFi and I want to find a good project, and I want to find a community that's super supportive, but we know that clearly PancakeSwap, we can tell that based on the success that we see with them ranked in the top 10. So clearly they've got they've made a footprint in this space, and for reasons that we'll dive deeper into in later calls. But if we just look at these kind of really high level elements, liquidity pool size, APR earning potential, do I have a better earning potential in a more stable liquidity pool in FSTSwap than I do in PancakeSwap? I think so. I think if you go through this list of projects, again, we've sorted this by the highest APR, and there isn't one that provides a higher APR. There isn't a pool on PancakeSwap that provides a higher APR in a pool nearly as stable as the pools on FSTSwap. What does that say to a person that's looking for a potential place to park some funds and gain some rewards in yield farming? To me, it says that you've got a better opportunity in FSTSwap because you've got pools that are healthy, vibrant. We've got an entire community that's healthy and vibrant as well. And you've got really aggressive, by comparison, APRs. And of course, these APRs are fluctuating. We've seen them considerably higher than that. And of course, they're impacted by things that are going on in the broader market as well. All right, so I want to take a look at one other thing, and I don't know if their page is loading. We had some challenges getting their swap info and analytics page to load. If it doesn't, then I'm just gonna jump into something that I think is interesting. It's an interesting comparison. So this is our page. FSTSwap and PancakeSwap have a very similar page, this info page, where it shows liquidity and it shows a history of liquidity, and then it shows volume. Volume is an important metric. We don't talk about volume a whole lot. So we're gonna come back to liquidity, and I wanna talk about volume for just a second, because volume is also an important metric. And it measured, and the reason it's important is that if you're participating in this project, then the first place that you want to participate is by buying and purchasing a coin. And every time somebody buys a coin, it creates a transaction, which is it is a transaction, which creates a transaction fee. That's volume. So people are buying, people are selling, it creates volume. And whatever's driving that activity, that's maybe a separate conversation, certainly something that we can explore, but volume is an important metric as well. Let's peek back over here at Dex Screener, and let's just look at, if we sort this by volume, look at the top 10 tokens by volume, and we've got PancakeSwap taking the 2 top positions. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Sanjeev, correct me if I'm wrong, this is tracking the last 24 hours, correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah. So in the last 24 hours, the two tokens with the top volume go to PancakeSwap, FSTSwap number 3 with the FIST USDT at $20 million. That $20 million represents transactions that are creating income, revenue, earnings for those of our members who are participating in the FIST USDT liquidity pool. At number 8, so in the top 10, we've got 2 of our projects in there. So OSK FIST comes in at number 8 with $4.7 million in transaction volume. So again, great comparison in the top 10 of, we've got 2 of them, and PancakeSwap takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those positions. So again, it gives us a good sense of who our competition are, who's the big dog in this space on the Binance Smart Chain. All right, so let's go back in here, and I don't think this is going to load for me. So I want to jump in. We're going to look at the history of our liquidity. We talked about volume here for just a second. Actually, let me see if I can get this to open up. All right, let's stay here for just a second. Sanjeev, can you jump in as we're talking about volume and give us a little bit of insight on this LP reward APR? Can you talk about that just a little bit?
Absolutely, yes. Like I said earlier, the volume is the second most important indicator of a swap environment, right? Any DEX. As we all know, once like Peter was showing earlier, the first step is to swap the equal amounts of a token. If you wanted to get into FIST USDT, $1,000 each, right? You need to get that in there. And then the second step was to add it to the liquidity pool. That's the LP. There's a 0.3% of each transaction that is given to the liquidity providers, which is you in that case, for every transaction that happens. So if someone else, I go in there after Peter did, and I swap, he gets the percentage of that. Now, why is it important? It's important because it's 0.3% of each transaction. Now that's converted into an APR. The higher the amount of transactions, obviously our APR is going to increase because there's more and more of that happening, and then you're getting it back in your LP. You realize all of those LP rewards in the farm, because once if you didn't put it in the farm, yes, that's good and great. You'll see those in your liquidity pool. But if you've moved your funds from LP to farms, the APR in the farms is a indication of the farm rewards and the LP fee. I just wanted you to know that. So yeah, as you can see, this is tremendous. It's 17.29. I remember it to be just about 3% or something, 3%, 4%, because our 24-hour volume used to be about 30 million. Now it's gone up to almost 120. So yeah, that's and then another indication of a healthy pool, like David was showing earlier, there are some pools that you saw that were high APR, but then had a very, very, very small pool. You want to look at the 24-hour volume to the liquidity, which is also called total value locked. You want to make sure that it's about 5 times of it. What I mean by that is, if we're looking at this pool right here, as an example, 24-hour volume for this one is about 19.1 million. Let's call it 20. So our liquidity should be at least 5 times of that, which is about 100 million. So here it is, gosh, almost 8 times of that, right? So we're looking pretty solid. So that's another thing that you want to make sure. If it is less than 5 times of that, now you're going into an area of a extreme price fluctuation and then a steep drop off, which is kind of what happened on 225. So David, back to you.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Sanjeev. All right. So we looked at transactions volume essentially. And one of the things that I want to look at, and unfortunately, forgive us, but the PancakeSwap protocol doesn't seem to want to load. But I've put some numbers together, and I'm going to run through some numbers for us here on, again, this is a rudimentary, non-super scientific approach, but we just want to look at, the idea here is we're not going to make sophisticated professional investors overnight, but we want to be able to look at some of the information that's readily available to us and then put it in context. And anybody can do this, and anybody can gather information and then let's look at what that story tells us about the project that we're participating in. So what we did here is we looked at PancakeSwap, went back to as far as, and we did this a couple of days ago, so went back as far as we could go on the FSTSwap. And at this point, I don't think we can get that far back. All right, so as far back as we can go today would be May 29th. We did this 4 days ago, so 4 days ago we started at May 25th. So on May 25th, what we're doing is we're comparing where PancakeSwap is, and we can get that same information on their overview page. So the same place we would get it on our page, it's just info. It just for some reason isn't loading today. But the PancakeSwap liquidity pool was at $4.05 billion on May 25th. And the FSTSwap liquidity pool on that date was 1.1 billion. June 25th, they had dropped 10%, just over 10.5% to 3.6 billion. The FSTSwap liquidity pool in that same period had a drop of about 12.5% to just under $1 billion. On June 23rd, PancakeSwap was down to $2.95 billion, another drop of 18%. And during that same period, FSTSwap had dropped to $747 million, a drop of 24%. If you look at the change over time, total change on PancakeSwap, liquidity is down by $1.1 billion, 27% drop in liquidity over that period of time, about a month. FSTSwap, we had a drop in liquidity of just under 392 million dollars, percentage change of 34%. So let's just pause there for a second. So we've had some conversations and questions about why the drop in the overall liquidity on FSTSwap. And at the very primary level, we kind of introduced this conversation about the volatility in the market. And so the liquidity is impacted by the price of the coins in the liquidity pool. So if the price of the coins are going up, then the value of that liquidity pool is going up. If you got 100 coins in the liquidity pool and they're all worth $10, there's a difference in the value of that liquidity pool than if they're all worth $20. It just doubled in size. You didn't double the number of coins or participants, you doubled the value of the pool because the price went up. So in this sense, we're seeing a very similar path of liquidity pool value going down, 27, 34%. So about a 7% spread between between the number one exchange on Binance Smart Chain, a seasoned, mature exchange with dozens and dozens of projects, and our Dex FSTSwap, which is, for all intents and purposes, just getting warmed up, and that gives us some context. Now we can extract all kinds of questions and maybe even presumptions from this information. I'm not going to do that. I'm just presenting it to you and saying, here's what the number one exchange experienced in this month's period of time. Let's compare that to what our exchange experienced. What does that tell us? We can ask those questions. And then let's take it a step further, because we did talk about the fact that price impacts liquidity pool value. And so in that same period of time, let's compare price action between the the primary coin for the PancakeSwap DEX, which is Cake, and the primary token for the FSTSwap DEX, which is FIST. So on May 25th, the Cake token was $5, went down to $4.50 on June 10th, and $3.2 on June 23rd. Lost 34% in that month's period of time. FIST, by comparison, went from $3.20 down to $2.10, down 36% in that period of time. Again, this scenario makes sense because when we overlay that scenario on top of the drop of the liquidity pools, you'll notice that the percentages are very similar. And we can extrapolate what that means, or we can ask more questions. What that says to me as an unsophisticated investor is, okay, that's interesting. I know that the value of the token impacts the liquidity pool. The token on FIST dropped 36%, total liquidity dropped 34%. I can see a correlation there, kind of makes sense. If we compare that to Cake, the thing that I'm extrapolating from this is the experience I'm having in this project an anomaly? Is it totally different than what's happening in the broader marketplace? Is the largest, most successful Binance Smart Chain DEX experiencing something significantly different than what we're experiencing in our project? And based on just what we're looking at here, the answer is not really. Let's look at two other data points, just again, because I think they're interesting. Let's look at Cake and the experience of Cake. Now, guys, a lot of us have been in this project. We were around during the 225 event, the 4/7 event. Events happen in projects. This is PooCoin. I just pulled up PooCoin, looked at the Cake token, Cake versus BNB. We look. I find it very, very interesting. This is doesn't give us much history beyond this, but right here around April 30th, I just found it really interesting that this coin that is now trading at $3.20, if you were in this project or you were excited about this project back in April, buying in at $45, you might feel some kind of way about participating in Cake today. But the fact of the matter is, it's still the #1 exchange, DeFi exchange DEX on the Binance Smart Chain. So this to me, again, goes back to the point that Sanjeev made just a moment ago, is that price is, while it's an important indicator, it's only one indicator in a broader context of a bunch of things that are happening, the bigger questions that are important to ask. Is the fact that the Cake's coin that was once $45, now $3.20, is that a sign that it's now in jeopardy or it's unhealthy? Maybe, it's possible. I'm not answering that question, I'm asking that question, but I find it interesting because we've had this personal experience. This was a free fall. I hate roller coasters. I would never ride this one, but we got on this ride together, and I was actually at the top of the Burj Khalifa when this happened. This was on February 26th, the 25th, 26th was my anniversary. And so we had the pleasure of literally watching it and feeling it happen in real time. So I find it interesting, we've had a similar experience. The Cake experience was not quite as dramatic in terms of its decline as the one that we experienced in 225, but nonetheless, I just find it interesting that if you take these two projects, #1 DEX on Binance Smart Chain had an experience where it went from trading in the 40s to where it's now trading in the low $3 range. We had a similar experience where we were trading in the 40s now, and just a few months ago, and now we're trading just below $2. In both instances, when we look at the broader picture and we come back here, you're talking about projects that have healthy liquidity pools. Top 10 liquidity pools represented on the Binance Smart Chain are dominated by these two projects, FSTSwap and PancakeSwap. So I'm going to pause here. This is really just kind of an introduction into some tools and some things that we could look at. And as we go forward in the next couple of weeks, we're going to do a little bit more of a deeper dive. We're going to get into some other protocols that are not on the Binance Smart Chain. We'll make some comparisons to the broader DeFi market. We'll take an even closer look at PancakeSwap and some of the things that they're doing. They just put out a proposal for voting, for example, on making some changes to deflating their Cake coin. We'll look at how that is, how that's working, how voting works in a community. It's a little more mature of a DEX. So it gives us a sneak peek into kind of the world that we're going into, some things that we might be able to look forward to as FSTSwap matures. Again, great comparison because a lot of the things that are on their platform are very similar to what we might experience on ours. So I'm going to pause right here. I see a couple of comments in the chat. If there are questions or comments, now would be a great time for you guys to pop in. DeFi Max, I believe you're on the call with us too. I'd love to hear any thoughts or insights from you on the project. And guys, if you have any questions or comments, come on in, raise your hand or just unmute yourself. I think we're a small enough group. You can feel free to unmute yourself.
Hey, David.
DeFi Max. Max, what's happening?
Hey, can you just like can you just give me like 2 minutes?
Yeah,
I
of course,
just
take your
have
time.
something ahead, and then once I'm done with that, I'll be able to share some thoughts and the recent events that are happening in our swap. Okay.
Sounds good. Take your time, brother. All right, Peter. Any thoughts? Anywhere you want to go while we wait on Max?
That's good. Great comparison there, David. Thanks for breaking that down, and Sanjeev and Carlos as well. So while we wait for Max, we just do our last spin right now. If there aren't any questions. Yeah. Okay. If we can, Renee, if you can cue up the wheel. Carlos, you want to come back in?
Let's spin that wheel, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. All right, who's going to be the lucky winner now? Big bucks, no whammies. Let's look at Eileen. You lucky lady, you're the winner tonight. Let's get
I
those.
am lucky. I won two times last time.
Hey.
Thank you so very much.
Well, thank you for tuning in. If you got to be in it to win it, and when you
That's
are
so
on these
very
calls, you are in it. So thank you for your
Okay.
participation, and thank you for showing up. I hope you are getting some value out of the content that we're showing tonight. And
Yes, I was late coming in due to certain things, but yes, I'm enjoying. Yes, I'm learning. Keep on learning. That's what I'm doing.
that's all we could do. We're trying to build. We have the entire year to learn. Every year, I think we get smarter, and we're still ahead of the curve because only 5%, 5 to 6% of the world is in crypto. So thank you for participating tonight.
Yes, and thank you. And I have to give Doris Lum so much credit for for all the help, and I want everyone to know that she's a fabulous lady. She just helps in every direction.
Well, thank you,
so much.
Eileen.
Well, it's so true.
It's okay, you did it. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you too, Doris. Bye-bye.
I was sending your phone address to, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you get it. Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yes. Thank you.
Congratulations, Eileen. Congratulations. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. This
We
is
see
my
almost every
third
week. Thank you
time.
for joining us. Awesome.
Yeah, so I'll mute now.
Oh, no problem. Okay, so just before we get back to DeFi Max, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to be talking. I'm going to quickly go over the site that Renee has put together for us. And this is called myfstswap.com. So you just type in myfstswap, FSTSwap.com. And on this website, you'll be able to get all the information. Whatever I went through in the project overview is all here as well. And if you were to click on the tab on the top left, you'll be able to look at all the different topics that you can touch on. And there's also a section where you can actually create your wallet and get started, and it gives you a step-by-step with the video on how to get started into getting your wallet set up, getting into the pools, doing the liquidity pool staking, and as well as the mining. Okay, so all of this information is available on this incredible website. And thank you, Renee, for putting this together for us. And let's see if DeFi Max is ready now. Max,
Yeah, Peter, do you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Okay. So there are quite some couple of news like regarding to what's happening around FSTSwap, and then I primarily just shared it in some of the leadership groups, right? I didn't want to I didn't want to release this information to the public without first confirming the I guess the legitimacy or how safe it is, right? So like primary it's we recently yesterday morning we had the release of the first game, remember the horse racing game that I was talking about. We had a like just initial minting of their NFTs, and then well, not minting, but like pre-sale of the NFTs. They have 15,000 prepared, and so far it has sold. I believe it's into the 6,000, almost towards the halfway point, and then so that's I just want to share it with people because it's like the first game, P2E game that's launching on FSTSwap, and it could be like very big because this is the first game, and whenever something P2E come up, which stands for pay to earn, right? So whenever something this a game like this comes up, usually it generates a lot of attention, especially if it's from big developers. And then I remember I was sharing to some of you guys, the developers are the big developer that made the game called MapleStory, and some of the other games which I personally played in the past. And then this is one piece of information that I want to share with the people that are in the group. So again, I can share the information to you guys, to Peter, to David, and then you guys can maybe pass on the information after you have looked at it, right? So there are like white papers, there are like how to play, and then tomorrow morning, I believe, which is like 8 o'clock our time, Eastern Standard Time, they have a AMA with the Dex, okay, with the game deck. Not our deck, but with the game deck, okay? And then I'll definitely be attending that AMA to hear what they have to say, and then the potential prospect of the game. And then again, like they already sold almost half of the NFTs, so there's still time. And like some of the announcement that I see, they haven't really promoted like outward. They only promoted within FSTSwap so far. So they haven't promoted to promote this game to the outside space, right? So the broader crypto space. So once this like the promotion goes up, I don't know how long that thing is gonna last. This is the information I got, right? So far, it's only been circling around the FSTSwap community and some of the other community that are associated with the FSTSwap. So people who launch coins and other stuff, right, on FSTSwap, they might have heard of it, right? I was only able to get news of this because I was like I said, I basically joined every node that was created on FSTSwap, right? And I joined the Telegram to get information, and that was one of the piece of information that I was able to get. And then I actually got in contact with one of the admin, and then I was able to get like administration for the Telegram group, for the English group, okay, which is this group is called Fong Fun community, right? So I'm in there. I pay like I posted the links, the white paper, and everything, right? So if you guys have like questions or like you wanted to ask about something like this, right, I could probably answer it because I read through everything. That's this first one. Okay.
Yeah. So for sure. One of the questions we were discussing the white papers on this project, and one of the questions was that the horse dies. Do you lose the NFT when that happens, or something like that, if you don't keep up play the game.
Yeah. This is actually really interesting, right? So for the horse, right? So if you go into how to play and then you go to status and feeding, right? So whenever the horses have states, so they are different state of not state of state of mind, but state of their I guess body conditions, right? So you have normal, which like it has zero contribution to challenges and championships that the horse partakes in, right? And then you have energetic, which contributes 5% increase in their stats. Okay, in terms like when they participate in a championship, right? So, and then they have starving, and then it has a morbell, which is like almost starving to death, and then they have dead. Okay, so basically the mechanic is there to ask the people to log on to keep on playing. Okay, that's their I guess that's their incentive, and that's how it works, right? So every day you go on your go on the game, you feed the horse, right? You feed the horse, keep them happy, right? Keep them happy, and then the condition will not worsen. Okay, but eventually the horse has it has a point, it has a cumulative system. There are set of there's a point system. Every time you do some kind of activity, it contributes to that point system. And once you reaches the max, right? Reaches the max, the horse dies. Okay, the horse dies. So there are a couple of ways that horse can die. One, by not feeding it, and then the second is by reaching that the point. Okay, the cap of that point. Okay, but you also have a chance, which I think you can pay like some kind of magic grass or some kind of revival system, which you can do it once and you revive your horse to its prime condition. Okay, that's what you can do, but it only happens once. So the point is that this system, the design of the system, like you have death of the horse, is to keep the NFT circulating, and then to keep the NFT like to keep the cap. Okay, there reaches the cap, because in some of the other games, right, where they're, for example, like Axial Infinity, right? You produce so many babies, like these so many like baby axes, right? So then like it becomes that the market becomes crowded with like all these axes, right? And then eventually you lose control of the market. Okay, that's what's happening. Like it's what's happening right now, and in some of the other games, right? PTE games, but this system is designed this way to keep the market flowing, to keep the NFTs in a good supply numbers. It doesn't overpopulate. I don't know if I explained that thoroughly. I don't know if you guys understand like the point of this. Okay. Are there any questions?
Not for now, but you have more news. We don't want to stop you on. I think let's wait for all questions to the end, because you have more to tell us. So tell us more, and we'll wait till the very end to ask you questions.
Right. Okay. So again, this is just a little bit more news about people who are interested, right? So like these right now, like they call it the horse racing game, they call it the blind boxes, right? So basically you can get the horse level, you can get from level 1 all the way to level like not levels but ranking. Okay, so there are different star rankings, so you can get 1-star horse, and then you can get all the way to 8-star scores. Okay, so the more the stars, the better the horse. Okay, so it's very simple. And then the more the stars, the more times it could breed. Okay, and there are two different kinds of horses. One is kind of like a breeder horse, and another is like just general racing horse, right? So the breeder horse could not. Does someone say sounds? Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. No, it's all good.
Oh, okay. So yeah, because Bernard just say sounds, I thought I was cutting out for some.
No,
Okay, so basically, right now, I believe the blind boxes are going to open once the countdown ends, right? Once the purchase countdown ends with it, which is in like 30 something hours. Last time I checked. And then right now you can only get 1 to 4 stars, I believe. I'm not entirely sure about that, so don't quote me on it. But like, I don't think you can get 8-star horses right now. But each blind box, it's worth 200 fists. Okay, so you're gonna have to use fists to buy that. I was hoping they could use OSK, but you know, they didn't end up using OSK. Yeah, so right now it's like the white paper is already there. I believe somebody shared that in the group already. Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody can read over it, and if they have any questions, they can just ask, right? And then like it's very self-explanatory, and then it has a lot of information, in-depth information regarding how to play, and they have pictures, right? And then they have a general website set up where you can look at the in-game like footage, actual in-game footage, and
Okay.
then they actually have from what I can tell, right? They actually have an app for it. Like they're making an app, like a phone app for this game, which is like I like usually when you play this kind of game, right? You go to the app, right? That, and then you type some kind of address and you go in there, right? But they have an app for this kind of game. So this is something very new and exciting to me, because I have played a couple of these games. Like I have played like some kind of like building games like Tycoon. I played Accidentally Infinity. I played like just all these games, and this is something very exciting for like to me. And if this is like, if you haven't played play to earn games, right? I think you should try it, right? Give it a try. It's not I wouldn't say it's
So I guess in the white
expensive,
papers, it
yeah.
shows you how to play and how to earn from the game itself.
Yeah. Like it's
It's interesting. It
very
sounds interesting.
exciting.
Max, you're gonna give us more of an update after your call tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow morning. Like well, I'm just gonna listen in, right? Because
Okay.
I like they're doing AMAs. Obviously, I don't like if they have like question and answer period, maybe I could ask some questions, right? Like but like it's like from the from the pictures, in-game pictures, it looks very good. Like the graphic, it's I think it's, you know, better than some of the other ones that I played. Okay, and yeah, and it's very exciting having our coins, right? Having our like this coin have like a user scenario, like
A utility for
yeah,
game.
actually
It's the
utility.
first game. Yeah, this is something exciting for our actual FSTSwap. So only 15,000 of these NFTs are available, right? Is that correct? And then
Yes.
after that, it's done, right? And then you just play the game, I
Yeah.
guess.
Unless they announce, but after the 15,000, right? Which is like your like preliminary starting horse, you can breed them, like I said, right? So you could get like breeder horse and a racing horse, and you can mix them together, right? Obviously, the stronger the dad and the mama horse is, right? The better the babies,
Better
right?
than, yeah.
And right. And you can sell these babies, which they comes in a form of NFTs, right? On our newly coming FSTSwap NFT marketplace, right? And
Awesome.
then you can make money on those. Like it's just so exciting to me. but like I wanted to share this to you guys for a long time, but like today I just got the chance, right?
Awesome.
Yeah,
Sounds
and
exciting for those who love to play NFT games online. This sounds like a great game to add to our FSTSwap. The first one should be the most popular, I would assume, right? That DeFi Max. It's gonna.
yeah, yeah, it's like again, like I said, right? They haven't done any advertisement outside of FSTSwap communities, right?
Right.
So once they advertise, for example, like some of the past games that participated in, right? They're advertising on like CN communities, and then it's they participate with some of the what do you call it, the micro groups, right, that are existing on these Telegram channels on Discords, right, and they get these communities to promote them, and the space fills up really quickly, right? Once the advertisement goes out, right? They haven't done that. They're only circulating around inside the community. So I'm actually thankful for that. Like, because like we have so many token holders, I thought it was gonna be gone in a matter of like minutes, right? Usually is, but like afterward, I heard that hey, it's only within our community. That's why I understand it. Yeah, that's the first piece of news, and yeah.
Sanjeev, you have a question? Sanjeev, come on in.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that, Max. Now, just a general question. It costs about 200 FIST, you said.
200 FIST, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And to access that, are we going into BitKeep wallet and pasting the link there, or how do you purchase that?
Okay, so Sanji, you just joined the link, right? So if you go to the group that you just joined in, right, and then you go to the top message, the pinned messages, and then
okay.
it has a link for NFT blind box, right? So if you copy that link into your DApp browser, okay, and then you're able to purchase that as long as your wallet has enough FIST. Okay.
Perfect. Yeah. No, super excited. I'm doing it as we speak. So just had a question. Thank you.
Yeah. Just make sure you click it once, and then if you see a successful message pop up, which is in green color, don't click it anymore, because I was originally gonna buy one, but I clicked it twice, right? And I bought two. So, and then I was like, oh well, right? But yeah, like I got really excited. I was clicking it nonstop because I thought it would be gone, right? So
yeah, I'm looking at it. It says 6,923 bought. So
yeah.
they're going.
Some people, because they have a Chinese Telegram group, right? And then some people were having problems because they couldn't buy it because they keep on showing error messages. So like on the first day, the first 30 minutes, it was like 5,000 already sold out, right? And then others keep on trickling in as the time passes. But so far, there are still people who are trying to buy it but couldn't for some reason, right? Like they have tried to troubleshoot, and then the community members are helping them. So if you like any of you guys who are buying it and having trouble purchasing it, right? You could try different solutions. You could just paste it into, like, ask your question in the chat, and then I'll be able to answer them, or to the best of my knowledge. There are a couple solutions that people try and have succeeded, and we could just try those first. Yeah,
I was able to get through it fairly quick. Just posted the snapshot as well. Buying seems pretty straightforward. So just for anybody who's curious, I was able to successfully buy just now during the call. It looks pretty straightforward. Thank you, Max.
Excellent. Yeah. So like you, if you want to check which NFT you bought, you can just click on the top where your wallet address is, right? So you can click on that and then see which NFT, the number of NFT you bought. Okay. And then so once the countdown is over, the blind box will be open, and then you can see what kind of horse you got. Okay. That yeah.
Awesome. Okay, Max, can you give us an update on Wednesday's call, if you don't mind? Because you'd have
absolutely. Because I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm very excited about this.
Yes. We can tell.
Yeah, but Peter, real quick, I think Max has some other things to share with us. There's another part of this, Max. Go ahead.
Okay, so other things I wanted to share is to address like some of the concerns or issue or questions that people have asked in our group. Like we want the good news, right? We want the carrot, but we also, we want to be as open as we can about the some of the not so good news, right? So as people could tell, right, if you're watching the statistic, and as Peter and David have shared about our liquidity, right? So I think approximately a month ago, right, our liquidity pool was in the billion, right? Just barely over a billion, right? And then we drop a little. But right now we're at like 300 million down a month later, right? So I don't think like we should face these questions head on and explain to people what's going on, right? So one of the things, obviously, it has to do with the broader market, right? As you guys have already explained it, like the broader market, it plays a role. It definitely plays a role. And then right now we're like I was in one of these calls listening to a very experienced person that was sharing this, because he started right around the time when the crypto thing actually started, so when the Bitcoin started, and he experienced several of these up and downs, right? And then right, and so he explained it. I'm just gonna paraphrase it. I don't, because he was talking in Chinese, right? So I couldn't like really explain it word by word. But basically, the gist of it is like it's around every 3 years we get into, like, for every 4 years of a bullish market, we get 3 years of bearish market. And then this has been a ongoing trend in the crypto space. And then right now we're in like in a very bearish market, as you guys can already tell, right? And then whenever this happens, people tend to hold on to their money. So what that means is that they tend to take out investments from these take out capitals from these investments, whether it'll be real world investments or crypto investments, right? So for crypto, they like to have the liquidity in their pocket or in their wallet. And then so if they ever run into any kind of troubles in real life, they can just quickly swap these liquidity into real capitals, and then they can save themselves. Okay, that's like he talked about it, and he gave a couple examples of what happened to I couldn't give these examples right now because I don't I only listened to the context, but I didn't listen to the specific like the names and stuff, right? So basically he gave a couple examples in a broader sense and in individual level. So basically, like people that like the things that happen to the people that's around them, right? So people take out money, they start paying for things that the loans and stuff, right? And then they need these monies, they need these capitals, and then these are the first places they're going to take the money out from. And then there are evidence of that in the numbers. Okay, so I was in I am still in the volunteer groups in China, right? And then they've been posting updates of our liquidity pool, and then from some of the numbers that are on there, I have seen a increase in the number of tokens that are outside of the liquidity pool. So more tokens are in people's wallet instead of inside of a liquidity pool. So for whatever reason, so for reasons that I've mentioned prior, and also for some of the reasons in like in the broader market, right? As we talked about it. So I just want to like chime in on this subject, and then again, taking anecdotal experiences from these people from the past, right? So people who have experience in the past, taking their anecdote, taking their stories, and then sharing it with you guys as to what happened. So like right now, like the way they see it is that we're on, you know, a bearish market, and then it's a repeated pattern, and then it's going to be this way for a little bit, and then it'll, you know, it'll come back up like they have experienced in the past. That's what I'd like to share. And then if if people want the specific details, maybe I can go into some of the conversations that the people have posted in the past about the numbers, and then see if I can find these numbers, and then I'll be able to share with you guys. I think some of the data capturing websites have these numbers as well, going as far back as a couple of years, right? So we can definitely look at the numbers, and then you can clearly see a pattern. I think that's basically what I want to share, and what I want to say about the subject.
Thanks, Max. I do want to ask you a question, because I've
Sure.
had several people ask me about the specific event of us going from $1 billion liquidity to 600 million, right?
Right.
So they said, how could that happen I'm paraphrasing myself.
Let me ask the question, Carlos, since I'm here.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
So I appreciate your explanation, DeFi Max. And thank you for giving that world explanation. Here's the thing. Absolutely everything you explained was told to us that this would happen last year. Okay. And we were told by doing certain things, even though the market goes down, this wouldn't affect us. Number one. Number two, we were told, because the TRX was out of control, not a native token. Number three, USDT is the only non-native token, so it shouldn't be no volatility. Number four, total value locked. Now, I'm bringing these things. These were told if we do certain things, it'll be safe. Now, you bought something to me when we were talking about the horse game, Axum Infinity horse game. I knew it was out there before. And the value went down because too many people were selling their horses, however. And now we have a new game, and we're doing safety locks, supposedly. It's only a limited number of people that can do it for safety. Now, if we're doing safety and it doesn't work, there's a problem. So my question is, I understand the market. I understand it's bearish. How in the world can we be affected in this capacity with a stable coin and with everybody in the liquidity pool with a high volume locked? How can we be affected this much is my question.
Okay, so was that Frank?
The one and only.
Yeah. So it's a very good question, right? Like when I look at this, right? Um like 300 million is not a small number by any means, right? Like it's a large sum of capital. And then but when I like the like David has explained, right? Like when we cross-examine with other DEXs and what's happening around them, right? So for example, like look at PancakeSwap, right? It was down about as David said, about like 1 point something billion. And then it was accounted to 27%, right? Losses. And then, so if you look at our numbers comparing to them, right? So we are another DEX, and then we were at 1 billion. So I'm not sure about like the numbers after it, but like we're about 1 million. We're down 300 million, so we lost 30%, right? So 27% to 30%. Like if it was a standalone case, I would be shocked, right? 30%, like in like a normal investment, like you would be like that would be a red flag, or like it would be a warning, right? But if we look at it as a whole, as like in a when I say as a whole, I mean like across multiple DEXs. Like if you see a trend and then the number are very similar, like then we can expect something like it's a trend, okay? And then like if everybody is losing that much, like around 27 to 30%, right? Then it's a market trend, okay? And then so when I look at this and then I cross-examine the numbers, I would it gave like at least I can tell myself, hey, this is what's happening around the market. It's happening across multiple DEXs, and it is I like it's what's happening. Okay, and then to address another another one of your questions, I guess. Who I guess who promises that? Because I was telling people like I joined in last December, right? Last December. So like who promises these things, right? Like we're not gonna lose anything, and like even though we have like preventive measure, like can we ignore the bigger picture? Is that what like the people that are telling you this?
Oh,
Like
no, it was instructions from it's in the chats when we were losing. Remember, we were chastised for jumping out the pool if you were here then. And we were out the pool because
uh-huh,
we were moving over to the Binance Smart Chain, if you remember. Okay.
uh-huh,
So, and then they told us the reasons why we got attacked.
uh-huh,
One was being out the pool, one was having TRX didn't perform, if you remember.
uh-huh.
Those are right there in the chat. They said if we were in the pool, these things wouldn't happen, if you recall. And they said if TRX did his
Oh,
job,
okay.
if TRX did his job, that wouldn't happen, if you recall. Okay, we did more steps than that. And I understand your explanation, but we custom made. We are a community with a consensus that controlled it. The other
I
ones were not.
understand it.
See,
Yeah, so
so
you're
with that
referring to
being said,
225, right?
yeah, no, I'm taking you back because since you want to, I went back to 225 to tell you where I
Uh-huh.
got it from, and I'm bringing you back to right now to us performing all those duties. Closed loop system, how can you escape? Now, I didn't say nothing will be lost. We shouldn't have no losses like this. We shouldn't drop that hard with a stable coin and a locked liquidity pool and a closed loop system with all the coins being native. You understand? So how could we be in the same and what is the consensus? You look at the liquidity pool. It tells us that we agree on something. The liquidity pool lets you know we agree on something. Sanjeev just said, hey, if the liquidity pools ain't high, look at that. That's the heart of the community. If we agree, how is this disagreement happening? What is the tokenomics? Because tokenomics is attached to everything. Tokenomics is attached to every single thing. And prices happens to be one of them. No, that's not what we learn on. We good things. But how can we leak like this when we have consensus with the liquidity pool? We have a high liquidity locked. We have a stable coin that's not a native token. and we all believe in it. Who is making this whole to leak out of values? I understand you're comparing us to the rest of, but we're not the rest of us. We're not compared. We're a custom community, and we rose and put all this on the back by a belief system. So who is taking these belief systems and draining our account from the inside? There's got to be a way. I understand the trend, but we shouldn't move like the trend because you said we were built like the trend. And if we can't go by what you say, then how can we protect ourselves?
Well, here's the thing. Let me just jump in here. So I appreciate your questions, but I apologize. I can't. My camera's disconnected. But it feels like you're asking questions that are based on a presumption, and there's certain presumptions that I don't know that are necessarily, completely agreed upon. That the term closed loop system, I don't know where that comes from or what that means. We are
that's native tokens. They belong to us. They don't belong to anybody else. That's what that means.
But every DEX has native tokens that belong to them. And so does that mean that we can't be affected by the broader market? It doesn't, because at the end of the day, the liquidity pool is made up of individuals, people who are impacted by global macroeconomics. The very thing that DeFi Max talks about that we're having in these conversations is that people are looking at very real world situations. I got to feed my family, I got to pay the mortgage. I'm feeling less secure, so I'm limiting my exposure to the most risky investments. Crypto is at the top of that list. So we're not isolated from the macroeconomics happening in the world around us. The question somebody asked, well, why would somebody sell FIST at $2? Why would somebody sell Bitcoin at 20,000? I don't know. Everybody's situation is different, and there's all kinds of different answers to that. The question around why is our liquidity pool dropped $300 million it's answered in math. It's not like the insinuation in the question is though something is happening behind the scenes, but just do the math. The change in the value of FIST in the period and over this period of time answers the majority of where the value of the liquidity pool is going. Drop the price.
It's ambiguous. Let me explain what I mean by something. There was an exact event, a 12-hour event. $400 million disappeared. While it was $1 billion, then it popped back up. And then after that time it popped back up, it fluctuated. Then I don't know if anyone noticed, our liquidity pool had registered at $39 billion. It was there for about a few hours. And then it changed. These are why my questions are here. There's something going on in the back. See, if you understand in banking, and my bank, even my federal credit union, they have something called delay. Even in coding, make sure you don't hack. It's called delay commands. So to make sure my bank, make sure that I don't understand my deposit is low, they delay my deposit, put it up there, I get an overdraft. I'm assuming, I don't know. But when it disappeared for 12 hours, and then we delayed and we down 400 million, that's why I say what's going on. Who has the power to operate this liquidity pool like that? Because we understand arbitrage and arbitrage bots. So you understand in 12 hours, you can make a lot of money in minutes.
Yeah, so, but you're asking the question as though you're looking for the developers to say to you, yeah, we're doing this, right? And it's not that they're not good questions or even legitimate questions.
No, I'm asking whoever has the answer, because we don't have it. Remember, the information is blocked, so we must ask, right?
But you're asking a question that presumes there's an answer to the question that begins with an assumption, right? Well, so the fact that
here's an event. It's not an assumption. An event happened. An event happened. An event happened. I need an answer to the event. That's all.
But we don't need to go back in the past. Let's deal with what's happening today.
Sure.
What's happening today is we have two of the largest liquidity pools on the Binance Smart Chain. They've dropped considerably. And so there's questions that naturally should come up as an investor. Why is this happening? Well, are there answers to the question about why this is happening that make sense? If we do the math and we look at FIST was $3, it's now $1.80, and we take that across all of the FIST that's in all the liquidity pools, it accounts for more than 80% of the drop that has happened in the liquidity pool. Just math. We don't have to come up with any stories, just math. So then the question is, well, why has our token dropped from $3.20 to $1.80 in the last 30 days? Well, we can come up with all kinds of reasons for that. Macroeconomics probably should be at the top of that list. But I think before we get to conspiracy theories about what's happening behind the scenes, the math and the macroeconomics of the moment answers most of our questions.
The math is controlled by the devs. That's why we asked the question. The value of the token is controlled by the devs. That's why we asked the question to them, because
How
they
is it
control
controlled by
them,
the devs?
because they're the one that initiate the process of the token.
I beg to differ.
Okay.
How is any project's coin value controlled by the devs when there's, especially in FSTSwap, where we have exceptionally distributed tokens across hundreds of thousands of wallets?
We're gonna look at those white papers with that straight up disclaimer. 15% goes to the devs with no repercussions, and there was no consensus to vote that. How did they get there?
Yeah, but what does that have to do with our price today? That's a totally separate.
You asked the question, who controls? I just told you how they control.
Are we talking about price and liquidity pool, or are we talking about
the price is affected by holes? Let's bring it back to when you said, "Oh, it's like the same thing." It's, you know, we have the similar price, but the devs control how it's the tokenomics. Is what I'm saying. They control who is controlled. Like all the people we partner with. Well, who's doing that? That's not you. Well, I can't say it's not you, but I know it's not me. Their partner, who are they coming with? So that's what I'm saying. That's not us. We're not making those decisions. Those are the devs. That's why we ask the devs the questions.
Right. Because what's the question? What's the question behind how it's affecting our pricing?
Well, I wanted to understand, do you have a delay timing? Was the 400 million really taken, and then you delayed it and let it show up later, and then we're burning tokens just to cover up what was taken? That's my question. And then how was it taken? That's my question. Because
all right, let me jump in here. Frank, I was trying to, David, are you okay if I chime in?
Yeah, please go for it.
Just while I was listening to Frank, so there's two aspects to it, right? Do you agree that there's decrease? Which part are you most worried? Is it the devs controlling the swap environment? Is that something that you're concerned about? Or is that something that you're trying to get clarification on?
The money being controlled and moving without us having the control of it. And we don't know what's happening. So we didn't understand what's going on with our values and how to be able to direct in the best direction.
Let me take a stab at it. And I think, and again, I don't have all the answers. And I'm of the same opinion that devs are not in a position to control the price of a token or the liquidity pool. Once we have a swap environment like this, same question can be asked about PancakeSwap, right? So why did they lose almost $2 billion, B as in boy, in over a period of 2 weeks? When I started the comparison, they were very close to $4 billion. Why did they lose? Are we saying that the devs are controlling the PancakeSwap environment, which is the most, it is the largest across all platforms, which is about little over 2 years old? I don't think so, right? And again, this is me speaking from a point of a user. And there is no way for a dev to control that. It is all triggered in a smart contract. Smart contract, and I read through this, I have some software background, so I was looking at it, and I have some friends to look at it in Solidarity. Solidarity is a platform in which every single smart contract is developed. It's a platform just like Java, C++. Okay, so there is no language there, and it won't pass the CertiK audit the minute they see a price can be manipulated in a smart contract. Smart contract, as you know, Frank, I don't have to say this, right? It's the rules of engagement of a crypto token. It won't pass the CertiK audit. If they feel that there is an avenue for the developers, the software developers, to fluctuate or take the money in and out as they please, right? And that is your first checkpoint. The second thing is, we looked at Cake just a few minutes ago. Same thing happened there, much bigger volume, right? It's like $2 billion, B as in boy, were lost in about 2 weeks, like I said. This is going to happen. It's going to happen like a wave. And then I do agree with you that we have a large amount of tokens that are locked, but still does not account for the number of tokens that are outside of that lock. So every time somebody's selling out of panic, like I think Carlos was just sharing that earlier, the fear index, when they panic sell, it obviously decreases the value of your token, right? And then that's a ripple effect. It decreases the APR, it decreases the liquidity, so on and so on and so forth. It goes back to Max's discussion just a minute ago, where he said people are fear, they want to have US dollars in their pocket rather than having in terms of a token, because there's fear about this whole stable coin pegged and all that, right? You can go on and on about it. So that fear is turning them out. They're selling. That's what's happening. And that's why it's backed up by the 24-hour volume. See, if you didn't have the 24-hour volume spiked up so much, then I would suspect whatever you are suspecting. But I'm seeing that transaction by wallet address in the blockchain, in our FSTSwap environment, right? So you can see the number of transactions go up. It's not something made up. I don't know how someone can make up about 300,000 transactions with so many different wallet addresses. Yeah, I mean, that's my take on it, Frank. I don't believe devs have that power, right? So now,
I appreciate that. That's beautiful. Thank you, Sanjeev. You really delivered. And David, thank you all, because you really are pulling it. And that's what I want. We need, but there should be no questions as long as it's in this game. There should be no holes and no answers. And we should not be going around guessing anything. This is our project. And if our money's there, we should be able to control it. So, and I appreciate that. But I'm still not satisfied. I will keep doing my research. But thank you, and keep that open, brother. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And then in the coming weeks, now that this is a question, right? This is a pressing question. I will address that with a couple of my research tools that I generally use. There's something called Rec Database, right? So Rec Database is something that you can go and look up for all the rug pulls. So the minute a developer controls a project that is categorized as something called a rug pull, and you know this, but there is a repository for all of these things. So we'll talk about that on a different day. But
sounds good. I'll share that white paper study report that I'm talking about, Sanjeev, and then you can see what I'm talking about, what I'm referring to in that language while I'm still concerned.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, back to you, David, or whoever was talking prior to that.
That's good. Good discussion, guys. Thank you for the insights, Sanjeev, and the breakdown. We're gonna call it a night. Our next call is Wednesday evening at 10 p.m. So please join us for our next call. And yeah, thank you for joining us. All 26 people stuck around to the end. Thanks for everyone. Have a great night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you all.
People.
Thank you all.
Good night. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Really makes
Bye-bye.
sense.
Bye, night.
Congratulations, Cynthia.